Hey YouTube, and today we're going to be solving system of equations. So to start off with, what is a system of equations? So a system of equations are going to be two equations that share variables. You got an x and an x and a y and a y. And then we're also going to be talking about slope-intercept form. You know, your classic y equals mx plus b. And we're going to be solving the system of equations using the substitution method. We could make y equal to x plus 5, or we can make y equals 2x plus 2. But this is our first one, so let's make it easier. So we're going to be using this equation, y equals 2x plus 2. And wherever we see y, we plug in x plus 5. So it's going to be x plus 5 equal to 2x plus 2. We need to get the x by itself on one side, so we can subtract this x. This eliminates the x from here, and all we have is 5 equal to 2x minus x, and equal x plus 2. And then remember, we need to get the x by itself on one side. We can subtract 2, 3 is going to equal x. And we could just write that up here. 3 equal to x. So half the problem's already done. Now we could just plug in 3 for x and just get the y. So if we plug in 3 here, it's going to be y equals 3 plus 5. Everyone knows 3 plus 5 is 8. So y is going to equal 8. Y equals 8. And the thing I like to do, I like to check my work to be sure I got the right answer. We could do that using this equation. So remember, we got y is equal to 8, so we're going to plug it in here wherever we see the y. We're going to do 8 equals 2, x equals 3 plus 2. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 is going to give us 8. And then we could do bring in here, and then 8 is going to equal 8, so that checks out. So we know that's correct. And then remember I was talking about how we could substitute either or, how we substituted the x plus 5 equal for the y. We could do it the other way. We could substitute the 2x plus 2 equal for the y, and whenever we see a y, we just write 2x plus 2. So let's do that. 2x plus 2 is going to be equal to x plus 5. And then remember, we got to get the x by itself. So we could do the minus x, x plus 2 is going to equal to 5. We can subtract the 2, x is going to equal 3, which we had, x equals 3. And then we can plug in that 3 here to get our y. Y is going to equal to 2 times 3 plus 2. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 equals 8. We just bring the y down, and then y is going to equal to 8, just like we had. And then we could plug those numbers into the other equation just to check our work one more time, just to be sure. Oop, I took a little bit of my 8 off. We could fix it. Sloppy looking 8. And then we could do 8 for the y equals x, which is 3 plus 5. So 8 is going to be 3 plus 5. 8 is going to equal to the 8. And so all of this means is these are two lines. These are two linear equations. Let's write our coordinates. X equals 3, and then y is going to equal to 8. We could write it as a coordinate pair like this. These two lines are going to intercept at the point 3, 8. And I'm going to pull a graph up so we can even prove that. So here's the graph. And remember, these lines are in slope-intercept form, or we could say they're in y equals mx plus b form. This is just slope-intercept form. And remember, b is the y-intercept, and this is going to be the slope. In light of a lot of this, learn this as the rise over the run. All right, so let's graph this line first. We know this is going to be the slope, which is going to be at 5, and we don't have no number by the x, so we can just make this 1 over 1. So the intercept, the y-intercept is going to be 5, so we can just start there. And then we're going to go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. And then we can just make a line. It's not exact, but I just want to prove the point. And for this one, our y-intercept is going to be at 2, and our slope is going to be 2 over 1. So let's go to 2. 2 is right here. We're going to go up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1, and then up 2, and then over 1. And this is where they intercept. Let's just make our line. So they should intercept at 3, 8. Let's check. 1, 2, 3. Yep, 3. And I'm guessing it's going to be 8. So they do. So like the answer for these two is where they intercept. And they're going to intercept at 3, 8. And another great skill to have is to learn how to convert these equations back into slope-intercept form, or y equals mx plus b. And y minus 4 equal to 2 is super close to being back in that form. We just need to isolate the y, and we could add 4x to both sides. And then these two will cancel. We'll get y equal to 2 plus 4x. And this is pretty much in y-intercept form, but I like to switch things around so it looks exactly. And this one's a little bit more difficult, but the concepts are the same. We just have to isolate the y, and to do that we could subtract 5x from both sides. We get 5y equals 20 minus 5x. And then we could divide by 5 on both sides. Y is going to equal 20 divided by 5 is 4. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Don't forget the negative. 1x. Or y equal to minus 1x plus a positive 4. And then we've converted both these equations back into y equals mx plus b, or slope-intercept form. Now we're trying to solve this system of equations. This is already in slope-intercept form, so we can leave this alone. But this one isn't. So remember, we have to isolate the y. In order to do that, let me get a pen. We could subtract 5x from both sides, and that gives us y, 5y, don't forget the 5, I almost did, equals 20 minus 5x. These could cancel, and then we're almost done. We just need to isolate the y, divided by 5. Y is going to equal 20 divided by 5 is going to be equal to 4. 5 divided by 5 is going to be equal to 1, the minus 1, and x, and then we could rearrange it, and we could say y equals negative 1x plus 4. Okay. And then this is this, but in slope-intercept form. So let's erase it and put it up there. We're not going to erase the whole thing. We just want to. So let's just write it. Negative 1x plus 4. And now we're going to go back to our substitution method. We could plug in 3x plus 2 equal to y and just plug it in here. Or we could do minus 1x plus 4 and just plug it in there. And we're already used to that. So let's do this one. This seems a little challenging, right? We just change it into slope-intercept form. So whenever we see a y in this equation, we're going to plug this in. All right, let's go. So it's going to be minus 1x plus 4, and we're going to have it equal to 3x plus 12. So the same thing applies. We just want to isolate the x on one side. So we could do plus 1x plus 1x. That gives us 4 equals 4x plus 12. We want to subtract the 12 to get x on one side by itself. And then we're going to get negative 8 equals 4x. But we have this pesky 4 in the way of x. We could just divide by 4, divide by 4, and then x is going to equal negative 2. So let's write this up here. X is going to equal negative 2. And remember how we could just plug in the x into the equation to get the y? Let's do that again. This one seems easier. You could choose either one, but this one seems easier. We could do y equals 3 times the negative 2 plus 12. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 plus 12 is the same thing as 12 minus 6. It's going to be positive 6. Y equal to 6. Okay. And now, as we did before, let's check our work. So we could theoretically plug this into either equation and it should work. So it's going to say, let's use this one. Y is going to equal to 6. 3 minus 2 plus 12. 3 times a negative 2 is negative 6 plus 12 minus 6 plus 12. Same thing as 12 minus 6 is going to give us 6. 6 is equal to 6, and that checks out. Now let's check the other equation. Let's check the original equation. So we're going to do 5y, remember y equal to 6, plus 5x equal to negative 2 is equal to 20. So it's going to be 5 times 6 is 30 plus. So for this, we can, instead of writing plus, we could just write minus, because 5 times a negative 2 is going to be a negative 10. So we could just write minus 10 is equal to 20. 30 minus 10, yep. 30 minus 10 equal to 20, and 20 equals 20, and that's true, and that checks out. And now let's plug it into the other equation. Get this little circle out of here. Okay. So let's plug it into this one and see if that works that way. Remember, y is going to equal to 6 minus x. Negative 1 times the negative 2 is going to be a 2 plus 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 equal to 6. And that checks out. So if you ever see an equation like this, just make sure both of them are under y equals mx plus b or slope-intercept, as we did, and then just substitute. And then after that, you can substitute for y, and that's how you get your x. And then you just plug the x back in, and that's how you get your y. And if you want to check to be sure you got them right, you can just plug them back in, as we did.